So let's talk about the art of war. The art of war is about three things: invincibility, unassailable strength, and victory without battle. Those are the three aims of the art of war. What does that mean? Unassailable strength, you have everything you need. Invincibility, no one can attack you and break you down, break you apart, divide you, split you up. And victory without battle is really kind of self-explanatory. To get what you need without hurting other people or hurting yourself. Let's just sit on that for a minute. A second, rather. Okay, now, how do we do this? All right, you do this by your understanding of the physics, the politics, and the psychology of conflict. Okay? Sit on that for a second. Now, don't let the word physics scare you, okay? Because we're not talking about net force and, Newton's laws. This is just basically the proximity of danger. In other words, how far is it away and how fast is it moving towards you? See? That's not so bad, right? All right, so you got that, the physics of conflict. Now, the psychology of conflict. I love psychology, knowing about psychology and what do people think, the way people think, right? The way people think in different types of situations, right? The different ages of people, how they think, the different genders, how they think differently. Understanding, a young person, an old person, a middle-aged person, a rich person, a poor person, someone on drugs is real desperate, a criminal, the so-called saints, I hate to say that, the highly religious people. What is the psychology? What are these people thinking like? This is what's meant by knowing others. In the art of war, it says if you know others and you know yourself, you won't be imperiled in 100 battles. You won't have conflict. You won't have casualties. You won't have a battle if you know others and you know yourself. Right? So we can talk about, knowing yourself, and that's a whole nother rabbit hole. We're not going to deep dive, but yeah, a lot of people don't know themselves, and I think the best way to explain that is when someone does something. Usually out of an intense emotion like anger, and they do something that if they were calm in another state or even looking at themselves, they wouldn't do. But since they're caught up in all this emotion, that means they don't know themselves. You didn't know you're going to get this angry, or maybe you feel like you don't care, but you will care later on. After you get arrested, maybe go to prison, or if you die and while you're dying, you say, I shouldn't have done that, or if you become a quadriplegic or, go into a coma, or you're conscious but you can't move type thing. And then in cool reflection, you'll say, that wasn't me. Unfortunately, this is how most people learn. And in a lot of cases, people think, well, this is just me. Is it though? Because when you're dying, that's not what you say. That was just me. That's how I roll. This is that to the end. I don't think so. I seriously doubt it. Right? This is what's meant by knowing yourself, and this happens in relationships. Right? Some people, their ego, and they get all cocky and they think, well, I'm not taking this. I'm out of here, or I'm cheating, or I'm spending all the money. I'm going to siphon some money out, their bank account, and just these different things. And then later on, get left by that person, or you left that person and you realize you shouldn't have, and now they don't want you back. In the art of war, this is called caught up terrain. All right, and this is in chapter 10, terrain. And so this is a terrain where if you go forth and you're not prepared, and you will have a hard time, and the enemy starts to prevail, then you'll have a hard time getting back to your disadvantage. You might not make it back. right? Things might change so much that there's no place to go back to, or it's just impossible, right? If a woman goes out and has a good time and she's reckless and careless, and so she gets pregnant by a man and she doesn't know his name or where he lives or his phone number, and now she's got the baby, and then that comes down on the kid, right? So if she wants to think in cool reflection, you know what, I shouldn't have done that. Well, you can't go back, right? Now, you might have an abortion, but you still had a baby and you still had an abortion. You didn't go back. You just got rid of the baby. That was something that happened that you couldn't undo it, right? So you might have taken an alternative, but that's still something you got to live with too, right? That maybe you would have preferred that it still didn't happen, right? So in the art of war, to me, is great for avoiding danger. At the very least, everybody should know it in order to avoid dangers everywhere. You got danger in finance. You know, you're always looking after what money you do have. It might be just a matter of socking it away under the mattress or saving it in your savings account because you don't know how to invest, or making investments if you do. That's also very scary. And I mean, there's a plethora of different ways you can go, from crypto to gold, if you have these investment strategies. So you should have knowledge about those areas if you're gonna be involved in them, because like Chapter 7, Armed Struggle in the Art of War says, to fight people face to face over advantages, which is called armed struggle, is the hardest thing in the world. Nothing is harder than armed struggle. And the difficulty with armed struggle, the hard part, is making distances near and turning problems into advantages. So the first to know the measures of far and near wins. Right? When you know the measures of far, near and far, and this whole concept of near and far, we're going to attack from near, make it look as though you're going to attack from far away. When you're going to attack from far away, make it look as though you're going to attack near. This can be applied to anything involving where you're using deception, right, on your opponent. And this doesn't have to be like, killing, and this doesn't have to be you backstabbing somebody. This could be in a game of chess, a friendly game of chess, or it could be for a professional game of chess. Now that's more serious because you get a bigger check if you win, and you feed your family with it, right? But not so serious where someone's going to start choking each other or kill each other, although that is still possible. And so the art of war is really, these are some examples I'm giving you of how you apply it so that you can have this insight and foresight and awareness. Like the translator Thomas Cleary says in his introduction that, war is based on awareness, crossing imperceptible barriers of awareness. And like Mastering the Art of War says, first correct oneself, then correct others. You have to deep dive into your own character and learn to see your flaws. If you look at yourself and you see no flaws, then you don't know how to look at yourself, because we all have flaws, and we all have weaknesses that we need to work on. You have to prioritize them as well, because you always have some. So you need to look at the ones that are important, that need to be worked on right now for whatever reason. Whether it's to keep your relationship together, to bring in more money, to make yourself healthier, happier, whatever. It requires for you to make some change from within, not going out shopping, buying a car or some jewelry or some clothes. That's not going to bring you happiness. It'll bring you a little pleasure, watching a movie, eating fast food, ice cream, and I can name some other things, but I won't. Some people do alcohol and other things I don't want to say, but that's just pleasure. It's a short burst, and then you're going back to being the same depressed, unhappy person that you were before you did those things. You throw that dress in the closet, and them shoes won't come out the box again. And it's deeper than that, right? Like Art of War says, when your strategy is deep and far-reaching, then what you gain from it is much. But when your strategy is shallow and nearsighted, then what you gain from it is very little. Okay. So I'm going to try and do more of these every day, these like quick podcasts, because I am juggling a lot of things. And we'll see if this works. I'm Austin Christian with The Art of War Made Easy. Stick around. It's sunny outside. Looks pretty good. If you have any comments or something you want to say or something you want to recommend or suggest, or feel free to do that. And if you stuck around this far, then why not hit the like button? If you want to hear more of this, if you think you kind of like it, then subscribe, because I think I'm trying to be more consistent, but it's hard. I'm going to see if this works, where I can talk every day and put it on there. I don't think many people were really that interested in seeing my face. Those videos don't do real good anyway. So take care. Let's get some more Art of War going by tomorrow. Be safe, and I'll see you then. All right.